Hey guys, welcome back to the shed. In this video, we're going to be fitting up the Westwind Moto Luggage System on the 450MT. This should be interesting. I haven't seen this with other brands with their racks for the 450MT, but these will essentially remove the handrails on the rear of the bike. So just come over to the bike quickly. If you've got these on your bike and you're currently utilizing them, that may be an issue for you. However, the idea is with this racking system that this will come off and the new Westwind Moto racks will completely replace that. I've quickly run the caliper over these just to see what we're dealing with. So they feel really good in the hand. The power coat looks really good. The side racks are 4mm thick alloy plate, and this main luggage rack on the rear is actually 5mm, so really quite stout. Fit and finish is looking really good so far. These side braces are the same as the side racks and they are 4mm thick. Looking at the fixings, normally you see stainless steel. I don't think this is stainless. I actually think that these are galvanized steel. So, I mean, really either galvanized or stainless steel, these should stand up the test of time quite well. All right, now coming over to the bags themselves, I elected to go with the Ranger Wilds line of luggage for this bike. So I don't want to load this bike up too much. I only really want to take away the essentials and not too many creature comforts, which means I don't want to overburden the bike and make it any heavier when you're only dealing with 450 cc's. So this is basically a rackless system. You don't have to use racks with it. This gives the versatility if you're running a bike like the CFMOTO over there. It would work well on larger scale adventure bikes like the 450MT, but this can also scale down to more enduro style bikes as well. But as far as the saddlebags go, we're going with the Ranger Wilds 20-litre saddlebags. So that's 20 litres each side for a total capacity of 40 litres for the saddlebags. With these saddlebags as well, they come with a dry bag, a left and a right, and they actually work in conjunction with these saddlebags, which is, I think, a really good feature. Also with these saddlebags, they come with an exhaust bracket, which I think is a nice addition, usually an afterthought and something you have to figure out on the spot once you're setting up your new bags. We've got a bunch of like bungee cords and straps, clips, D-rings. All the buckles so far are really, really good quality. So yeah, impression so far is really good. Coming across, we've got the rear duffel bag. I elected to go for the 30-litre duffel bag. Again, same reason, keeping it as lightweight but also practical as I can for a bike of this size. So that will go in the center between our two duffel bags. It's interesting with this Ranger Wilds base, so this will essentially sit on the tail of the bike between the two saddlebags, and you've got a bunch of sort of different molly webbing you can clip into there. So the versatility I'm expecting on this is to be really comprehensive, and I won't know until I fit it up, so this is just my first impressions of unboxing it all, but based on what I've seen so far, I mean, even to the saddlebags here, flipping one over, there's sort of like rubber and wear protection on the inside of the saddlebags as well. Even though these will be sitting against these luggage racks here, again, versatility, these can go on lighter weight bikes, and I plan to use these on the CRF as well. This just sort of makes it more versatile and you can apply it to a bunch of different bikes. So yeah, so far I'm getting sidetracked. Impressions are really good. There's a rear tail bag, and then we've got these crash bar bags. So these are the RW6C. So I assume that's 6 litres each side. They feel really good so far. They also come with these wear protection inserts. So these actually go inside the bag like that. So any sort of vibration with stuff you might be carrying in those bags is going to be protected by these as well, which I think is a really nice touch. And if you're wondering, all of these are in the actual desert color. That's all the stuff we're dealing with. I'll set you guys up and let's fit it up. All right, so there we have it. The rear rack is all fitted up. I must say, it went pretty smooth. There were no printed instructions that came with it, which always sort of annoys me, but That's just the way it is these days. You can log onto the website and find out all the information you need, but you can't really go wrong. There's only one place a lot of this stuff sort of goes. As far as the actual finish of it all and how it fits the bike, I think it looks absolutely awesome, to be honest. It looks way better than I even thought it would. I like that it follows the contours of the bike. So the body line's already there. It follows, it accentuates them in a few different places. I like that this rear luggage rack actually picks up and comes in line with the seat. That's a nice design choice. Come down on the side here. We picked up here where we have our pillion pegs for our passengers on the bike. One thing I did pick up on, if you've deleted these passenger footrests like I have, the bolts they give you won't actually fit. They'll be 5mm too long. So again, if you've already removed them, continue to use whatever bolts you were using beforehand, because the ones that come with the bike won't work. You can always shorten them 5mm, but as standard, they will not fit up very well. I'm actually really happy with how that looks. Looking at it from the rear, that parcel shelf and those two side racks follow the lines of that tail light. I know it's little things, kind of seem silly even mentioning it, but it's those nice little details that I think make all the difference. I did notice when fitting up the rack with the fixings provided, yes, they are galvanized, and I sort of gave them a bit of a good wrap at the start, but I did strip out one of them here and one of the ones holding down underneath the seat. So they're pretty soft. I would have liked if they were a little bit harder metal, but you can strip them out quite easily. So just be careful, particularly with these ones here, as they're quite a small Allen key. You will round those off if you're not careful. If you're using an automatic ratchet like I am, just go easy with those last few turns. But apart from that, I think it looks absolutely awesome. It's real sturdy. I think it's gonna have no problem carrying the luggage that we're putting on it. All of the nuts underneath the rack there are all galvanized as well, but they're also nylock, which is good. So you don't need to use Loctite or any sort of thread lock with these. Those nuts, given they have a little bit of nylon in them, they should not back out. They should stay nice and secure. But yeah, there you go. So far, the rack itself, I'm really, really happy with. All right, let's fit up the luggage. Here we are all fitted up. So I'll give you a quick walk around of what we're looking at here. On the front, we got the two crash bar bags each side, so the RW6C, so 6 litres of storage each side on the crash bars. I've got to say, I haven't really had much experience with crash bar bags as far as fitting them up. I kind of thought it would be a bit awkward given that, you know, every crash bar, depending on the bike, is going to be a little bit different. The way that they hooked on with the clips around the different bends and things like that, and even just the cross up here coming over the top, they're really well secured. And yeah, they just add that extra bit of capacity if you're really maxed out when it comes to packing up for your trip away. Obviously it adds quite a bit of width to the bike, but you know, depending on your trip, I'll let you be the judge whether or not that's an issue. They look pretty smart. I really like this desert color finish. I think it really pops on the bike, looks nice. But yeah, as far as the crash bar bags, they fit up really well. Now, coming to the back of the bike, this took me a little while, I'll be honest. If you've got any experience when it comes to fitting up different luggage to different models of bikes, it can be a little bit overwhelming. There is just an abundance of adjustment and configuration that you can do. And honestly, what really sort of switched me onto this brand was that you're getting a luggage rack and a luggage system all in one. So you're not having to piece together things from one manufacturer and you're going to pair it up with a different manufacturer's rack. This stuff is set up, configured to all work together. And that takes out a lot of that guesswork and a lot of the jank and configuring stuff on the fly. All of these eyelets, all these straps should be configured to work with their own rack system. And I got to say, once I got my head around it, as far as the different attachment points, it all went pretty smoothly. These saddlebags, I'll start with these first. So these are the Ranger Wilds 20, so 20 litres each side. These essentially, I would just think of them as holsters. So instead of, I guess, your conventional bag, so they're open cavernous sections that these dry bags then slip into. So theoretically, you don't actually need to use them with the dry bag if you're carrying things that don't need to stay dry. There's drainage at the bottom of each of these bags, so they're intended to get wet and drain. Again, a bit of versatility there. As far as getting the actual bags out of the holsters, I'm just gonna call them holsters from now on, it's really only 3 clips. So you got 1 clip at the back here, open that guy up, clips at the top, and then the third one is just this one here. So 3 clips, and then on your dry bag, you've actually got a handle molded into it too. So you give that a tug, out comes your dry bag, and there's that sort of holster arrangement as I was talking about. Really quite a clever design. Also, it lends itself, you know, if you end up wearing through a bag like that after a lot of use, you don't need to replace the whole saddlebag arrangement. You could just, in theory, replace a dry bag or use a different bag and insert it into these holster saddlebags. Really cool design. All right, so I've taken off the duffel bag just so I can show you how this attaches up with the saddlebags. Here's that base connection I was talking about before. And really the bag is just held on with these 2 large eyelets here. I can tell that there's been a lot of attention to detail with these bags, not only with the number of attachments, but even the eyelets themselves, the way that they've got them arranged. They've got them positioned in the way that it's least likely that they will come off and come unhooked while you're riding. So we've got our 2 large eyelets at the top here. We've got our single restraint at the rear here, which actually loops through an additional attachment point which comes to the rack back to here. So you're actually tightening in 2 positions off of a single strap, which I think is a pretty smart design. And then coming down here, we've got our strap to our pillion foot bag or our exhaust bracket. And then up underneath, we also have an additional 2 straps which connect to the rack themselves. So I'm obviously running an aftermarket exhaust on this bike, and I've got a good amount of air gap there. So I'm not expecting there to be any issues when it comes to heat. But so far, these 2 saddlebags, I'm really impressed with the arrangement and also just the amount of adjustment you can do with it. It's just absolutely insane. So here we have the duffel bag on the rear tail of the bike. A duffel bag, there's not a whole lot to say. A lot of the design choices with this bag are similar to all the other dry bags. It simply rolls up on itself and connects either side and over the top, which is good, proven method, I like that. This cargo net on the top I think is a pretty cool idea. I haven't seen that with any sort of tail bags before, but again, versatility, you've got options there for bringing things like firewood or maybe something that's wet you don't want to put in your other bag, you can strap it down on top. All in all, build quality of the tail bag for this duffel bag is really good. You've got plenty of zips and different options for storing stuff. Now, we'll critique one thing here when it comes to the installation. I couldn't find any installation instructions for this duffel bag. Now, it is just a tail bag, and you might be asking yourself, how can you stuff that up? Well, this also doubles up as a backpack as well. So you actually end up using the shoulder straps as your tie-down straps. And the configuration it comes in when you actually get the bag is not in the way that you want it when it comes to tying it onto the bike. Yeah, anyway, we got there in the end and it's looking really good. It's looking purposeful, I'll tell you that. But even the little things I like here is, so we've got these tightening buckles here for our saddlebags. We've got like a little sort of strip of rubber underneath that to stop any sort of wear and abrasion against that reinforced nylon there. So I like that. You know, lots of really good design choices here that I think will pay dividends when we're out in the trail. Every single strap has some sort of method to retain it. Again, attention to detail. Oh, I missed one here. There's got to be a million of them. So you really do have to go around this bike 2 or 3 times. You will miss a couple. See, this one here, missed another one. So there you go, yeah. And looking at the back of the bike, I was having a look before, it actually doesn't increase the width of the bike with those crash bar bags. I'm pretty surprised by that. If you can look down from the top there, we're not really any wider than the saddlebag. So my initial sort of assumption that the bike is going to be quite a bit wider with those crash bar bags is wrong. So if you're worried about width, it's not really an issue. You can get away with that extra capacity with the crash bar bags and you'll be no wider. Now guys, I can't really comment on how these bags perform just yet because I haven't been out and I haven't put them through their paces. But I do have a 1200K loop planned, and it's going to be a 4-day ride in the next couple of weeks where I'm going to be taking these bags away, and I should be able to give them a good go over and report back. But so far the impressions are looking really good. You know, minor little sort of niggles here and there aside when it comes to fitment. I think this sort of stuff is always going to be a bit fiddly when it comes to finding the best way to hook it up and secure it. But apart from that, you know, I think that this brand, Westwind Moto, is actually hitting it in that sort of sweet spot. And the fact that you're getting a luggage system with a rack system that's engineered together is honestly probably the best sort of outcome you want, because this stuff is like hand in glove. So it takes a lot of the guesswork and the stress and the frustration out of it. So far, really impressed. I can't wait to get down the trail. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.